Books. We're so glad that you are with us. We're going to give it just a few minutes here and let Facebook build our audience up and let our friends know that we're here live. So we're going to do that. But while we're waiting, we'd love for those of you who are already on with us to let us know where you are tuning in from. Let us know where you're watching from today, what you're doing with your family today. Are you guys doing school? Are you out and about? Are you on a field trip? Let us know what's going on in your world. We'd love to know that and connect with you. Well, I'm Katie, and I am publicist here at Master Books, and I have the privilege of chatting with one of our authors today, Katherine Loop. And she is the author of one of our curriculums, our junior high math curriculum called Principles of Mathematics. And so we're going to kind of walk through that curriculum some today. We're going to address some questions that you all have sent in about the curriculum, and Katherine's going to tell us more about it. But Katherine is a homeschool graduate, and she's an author and a speaker, and she hosts Christian Perspective, which is an online space that strives to encourage and provide resources from a Christian perspective, also known as a biblical worldview, which we're big on here at Master Books, and we've been talking about since the first of the year. So we're excited to have Katherine here. So Katherine, thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh, it's my joy. I'm so excited to be here.
Excellent. So good. Well, again, we hope that you're hopping on here, and Katie here from Master Books with Katherine Loop talking about Principles of Mathematics. And I've got my iPad here, so we can take your questions live today. So if you have some questions that pop up as we're chatting, feel free to type those here in the comments section, and we'll make sure to address them. And myself and Katherine will make sure if we, for some reason, don't get to them here on the video today, we will go back in and type our response to you as well. Always want to encourage you to visit our website, which is masterbooks.com. We are offering a special for the month of February, 10% off our math sets. So if there's a math set that you're interested in, you can purchase it at masterbooks.com using the coupon code MATH at checkout, and you'll receive an extra 10% off. So make sure to take advantage of that. Well, thanks again for being here. And I kind of want to start this afternoon with talking with Katherine about the idea of math, the subject in general. So many consider it sort of a neutral subject, but I want to know, Katherine, in your opinion, is it possible to find God in math? Can you tell us about that?
I would love to. That is a really great question, because you're right. A lot of people view math as neutral. And at first glance, when you look at it, 1 + 1 = 2. And it equals 2 whether you're a Muslim, a Christian, or an atheist, right? So people get the idea that it's neutral. And yet it's not really. When you step back, there's the same worldview battle going on in math as there is in science. And I like to explain it by using a tree. When you look at a tree, everybody can agree about certain features of the tree, how photosynthesis works, what, if you were to measure it, how tall is it? And yet, we know that tree is not neutral. When you talk about where that tree came from, why it works the way it works, you're starting to go into the realm of worldview. And the biblical worldview gives us answers to those questions. And it's that same way in math. When you look at 1 + 1 = 2, yes, we can all agree that it does, but why? Why is it that if you take one of something and add another one, you get 2? Why is creation so consistent and so predictable that we can use math to explore it and to send men to the moon? All of creation, there's these consistent laws, and we write those with math. And ultimately, math is consistent because it's a way of describing creation, and creation is consistent because God created all things and is holding them together by the power of his word in a consistent way. And so every time you solve a math fact, it is shouting out at you that God is still holding all things together consistently, that he is keeping his covenant with the fixed laws of heaven and earth. There's a verse in Jeremiah that talks about, if I have not established my covenant with the day and the night and the fixed laws of heaven and earth, which would include things like addition and subtraction, multiplication and division, then I will reject the descendants of Jacob and David, my servant. In other words, God was saying, look, you can see I'm a covenant-keeping God. We can see that throughout his creation, including math. And it is a testimony then to how faithful he is. And the biblical worldview also affects how we then use math. We know that we're to use it for God's glory while depending upon him and expecting it to work outside of the textbook. We have a reason for why it should actually apply in creation, and that we can use it then as a practical tool. Does that answer your question?
It does. I think very, very well. Well, if you're just joining us, I hope that you caught that from Katherine. That was really excellent. We were talking about God and math, and if that's possible, because so many consider it such a neutral subject. So she just provided an excellent answer to that question. And so if you're just hopping on, I encourage you to go back and make sure and catch that part of our conversation today. I'm excited that we have Joe joining us here from Hamburg, and it says that you're getting ready to go fishing. Well, excited about that for you, Joe. I hope that you have some great weather where you're at. We have some awesome weather here in Northwest Arkansas. It's been in the 70s this week, and so we're sure enjoying that. North Alabama is joining us. They're taking a break from school because you have the flu. I'm so sorry to hear that. It's also kind of been going around our part of the country as well, and luckily skipped my household so far. But sure hope you feel better, Sheila. And Daytona Beach is joining us. Great to hear from you, Nada. Thanks for being with us this afternoon. And we encourage you all just to keep letting us know where you're from and interacting with us here on our platform. If you have any questions for myself or Katherine, we invite you to post those here below. But we're going to kind of keep talking through Katherine's junior high math curriculum, Principles of Mathematics. It's available at masterbooks.com, and we're going to go through some questions here, but feel free to hop on the website. There's so much good information there. You can also take a peek at some of the sample PDFs of the curriculum. If you'd like to see what it's all about, you can sure do that. Another thing I wanted to mention is if you do have a student that you think may be a good fit for this curriculum, we do have placement tests available on our website as well. So you can download that and have your student take those tests to see if this curriculum may be a good fit for them and where they're at currently in their study. So I want to definitely encourage you to do that. Well, Katherine, just kind of moving along here as far as our conversation goes, I wanted to know really kind of what inspired you to write this curriculum, this junior high math curriculum from a biblical worldview. Is it something that you personally struggled with growing up, mathematics, or was it just something that the Lord laid on your heart to provide for parents that may have a need?
Kind of a combination. I had always done well in math, but I never understood why I was doing math, especially when I got into high school and I started dealing with all of these X's and Y's and A's and B's. I was lost. And I could follow the rules and get the answer, but I had no idea why in the world I needed to learn any of this. And then in my senior year, my mom had me read a book called Mathematics, Is God Silent? By James Nichol. And I started the book pretty skeptically, thinking, of course he's silent in math, or maybe he's going to talk about adding a Bible verse to the top of the page, and making it biblical that way. But I was blown away as I realized that math was not neutral, and that really, from kindergarten on up, I'd been learning it in a humanistic and naturalistic way, because I'd been being taught math works, fact, 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 but I'd not been taught why math works, because God is the one who's holding all things together so consistently and so reliably that we can call it a fact that 1 + 1 is going to equal 2. And seeing that made sense out of math. All of a sudden I understood what those A's and B's and X's and Y's were about. We were describing real life consistencies that a faithful God was holding together in creation. And it was a tool that applied in my own life. And so it was very transformational for me. And I wanted everybody to hear that and to get that. And so I was going around begging moms to read this book. You've got to read this, you've got to read this. And it was a larger, more technical book, and people weren't reading it. And they kept saying, you should write something. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to write something. But through a long process, it became clear that I was supposed to write something. So I wrote a book, and then that led to another book. And then people kept saying, we really just want a curriculum, make it easy. We don't want to have to read it and figure out how to change a curriculum. We just want something ready to go. And so that eventually led into the curriculum. So I wrote it because I just really passionately wanted other people to not miss out on seeing God in math, and to really not get that humanistic and naturalistic worldview in math without knowing it. I mean, I was blessed to have heard of Ken Ham as a teenager, an early teenager. So we saw God in our other subjects, and used a lot of Master Books products that I love, but we didn't see it in math. And so it's really, I felt like a big need to try to fill in that hole for math.
Yeah, we agree with you. It definitely is a need, and we're excited to be able to offer your curriculum to families that are like you, that want to be able to see God in math and teach that to their students. And you have created this curriculum that really is easy to use. It's very much open and go. So let's kind of talk about that a little bit. I'd love to talk about the layout of your curriculum. So as far as the layout, is there a student book? Is there a teacher book? And can you tell us, is it one lesson per day? Tell us a little bit about the layout and how you've really made it simple for parents. Can you tell us that?
Sure. I'm going to hold it up as I do so you have a kind of visual here. So there is a student textbook, and then there's a teacher's guide, although when we first published it, it was called the student workbook. So if you see a student workbook, it's now called the teacher's guide. They're the same thing. And the way it works is the student textbook has all of the lessons, so it teaches the material. And then the teacher's guide has both the schedule of what to do when, and the answer key, as well as all of the worksheets for the student. And that way, parents weren't having to pay for 3 separate books. You just have to get 2 books, and it's got all the worksheets, the quizzes, the tests, the schedule, and the answer key all in this. And the pages are perforated, so it's really easy to just pull them out and hand them to the student, or you can just pull out the schedule and the answer key in the back and then hand the rest of the book to the student. And as far as like how many lessons per day and stuff, it's typically if you're taking a year to do one of the books, it's about a lesson a day, but there are days off and there are review days built in there, so you have flexibility. And if you were doing a different schedule, you could always do 2 lessons one day and then take a day off and then do get back onto the lesson a day plan. But there's a schedule up in the front to make that simple. There's also a schedule included for going at an accelerated pace if you wanted to finish it in a semester with an older student that was trying to use it more as a review course to get the biblical worldview and foundations down. So it's very flexible. I encourage parents to try to adapt to what works for you. You don't have to follow a rigid schedule, but there is a really easy to go schedule included in there so that you can just look at that, complete this day. It tells you what pages to read in the lesson book and what worksheet to complete, and then you just put a check mark next to that.
Perfect. Well, I definitely want to welcome our new viewers that are online here viewing with us this afternoon. I'm excited that Israel Wayne is on with us. Of course, he's one of our favorites here at Master Books, and we love hearing that you love Katherine's math books. And Israel, if you have any examples of how your children specifically are using her books or what they're loving about her books, would love for you to comment that here underneath the video. We'd love to hear from you on that, and just what a blessing it is to hear that your family's benefiting from this curriculum. And Hannah from Clinton, Missouri, so glad that you're on as well. And it says that you're working a science fair today, so that sounds really exciting. And we hope that you are spreading the creation message among your science fair this morning. I'm sure that you are, and we love that. So thanks for letting us know what you're up to today. And one thing that you mentioned, Katherine, just now as we were talking about the layout of your books, I thought was interesting. When you were talking about the student book, you mentioned that it kind of has the information in there for them to work through, which kind of leads me to a question that I have for you as far as, okay, now my student's in junior high, so my student's not necessarily, we've moved out of the elementary phase, so am I correct in thinking that your books are a little more maybe independent learning as far as the student is concerned? Is it very driven as far as they kind of take responsibility for that, or how would you explain that?
Definitely, yes. It's designed for the student to be able to take responsibility and to read through the lessons and work the worksheet on their own. And it gives them, in the first book, it especially tries to teach them how to do that. So to remind them, write something in your notebook to remember this, or make a flashcard to try to teach them how to study. And when it comes time to study for a quiz, it tells them you should go back and look at problems you had trouble with, and giving them those tools that they're going to need to become more of an independent learner. But it is designed to be taught by the student. Now, obviously, if they have a question, they'll need to ask it, but it is designed to be self-teaching.
Excellent. Very good. Last week we were speaking with Angela Odell, who has created an elementary math curriculum that we offer here at Master Books, and I love the way that she explained kind of the idea of a puzzle. She kind of explained this concept of trying to help the student understand the puzzle as a whole, and then understanding how the pieces all fit together. And so letting them kind of see the big picture and then how it all fits together. And I think that your curriculum, I would think, my opinion, is very similar in that way. Kind of the why before the how, you know? And so I think that's really important for students, especially when it comes to math. A lot of times they want to know, why are we doing this and why does this matter?
Yes. And I feel like if they don't know why and they're just stuck in the details of the how, they get lost and they begin wondering, why in the world am I doing this? It's like if you were trying to teach a child how to cook and you never put them in the kitchen, they might think they hated cooking if they just had to read a bunch of rules and a bunch of recipes without ever actually getting to cook. And yet that's kind of what happens with math sometimes. If you just focus on the rules and the mechanics and children don't understand why they're having to learn any of those, then they end up thinking, I hate math, but they've never actually really gotten to use math. And especially as you start moving into the high school concepts, most of us get how addition and subtraction and some of those more basic concepts apply, but when you get into coordinate graphing and variables and all of that, it ends up becoming more and more abstract. And what I try to do in the curriculum is show them how it's going to apply and simplify down a lot of examples that most students don't ever get, even unless they go on into engineering or a field in college that way. So it shows them, hey, this is what we're really doing. This is why we're doing it. This is how we apply variables. This is how we apply coordinate graphing, so that they're really seeing math as a tool to describe God's creation and as something that points to Him. So it very much gives them that big picture so they're not lost going, why am I doing this?
Right, and I think I went back and sort of consulted our Moms of Master Books group before putting this conversation together, because I thought that is just such a neat, real place that moms come and kind of process out loud, the struggles they're having with their student or the wins they're having with their student. And to me, it seemed like for a lot of them, junior high is kind of a turning point in a lot of ways as far as their education, coming from elementary and kind of making that switch to 7th grade, especially when it comes to math. It seems like it could really kind of be or make or break in a lot of ways. And so I love that we have a curriculum I feel like is working so well for so many families. And I wanted to ask you, do you feel like a lot of parents and students kind of feel confident in math leading up to junior high, but then a lot of times that is kind of where they potentially might hit a wall or kind of a turning point? Have you seen that in your experience?
You kind of broke up just a little bit there. Can you repeat that last sentence?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. I was just kind of asking the question. A lot of families seem to really feel like they have a grasp on math through elementary school, but then junior high seems to be a turning point for a lot of them. Is that kind of your experience? Have you experienced that feedback from families?
Yes, typically when they start dealing with fractions and then when they start introducing unknowns, if they haven't really gotten the basic part, then it all kind of snowballs, because you can kind of make it through up to a point, but then at that point where it goes more abstract, all of a sudden people get lost. And so what I tried to do in Principles of Mathematics was address that in that book 1 really fills in a lot of the gaps and makes sure students really understood those foundational concepts that then algebra builds on, so that those gaps hopefully will not snowball into something that creates a big issue. But yeah, a lot of students will start really struggling, and usually it's because something early on they just learned how to solve and follow the rules, but they didn't really understand what was going on.
Good. And not to backtrack at all, but will you speak to the families that are tuning in here today and tell us now, this is a fully comprehensive curriculum, correct? Or would you consider this supplemental?
It is fully comprehensive. It's designed to, there's 2 books, so like 2 years worth. It's designed to take 2 years, and it's a fully comprehensive program for that. I also, though, tell high school students that if they're looking for something that they want to just go back and review and kind of get the big picture of math and the biblical worldview, they could use it as a supplement at the high school level. Or they could do it at an accelerated pace as the full curriculum, but it's designed to be completely comprehensive and to be a 2-year program.
Excellent. Well, Sonia has a question here for you. Hi, Sonia. Thanks for tuning in this afternoon. Her question for you, and she said that she may have missed the beginning of our conversation, but do these books give guidance for a parent who may not be as confident helping their middle schooler with math if they are having trouble with a concept?
Okay, so the books teach the concept in a much more conversational way than like most math curriculums. Most math curriculums, they kind of just tell you the facts. And so if a parent doesn't understand the concept, it can be hard. The lessons themselves in this curriculum go into a lot more depth in really trying to explain it. So there's not a separate like teacher's guide that tells you these are different ideas or anything like that, but the lesson itself a parent can look at and should be able to get what they need in order to teach the child. But again, it's designed to be that the child is able to get it on their own. So if the parent did have a question and they were struggling, if they read that lesson text, they would be able to articulate that. And they can also always post a question in the Master Books Facebook page. Every now and then somebody will post something and I get on and I reply there. So there's definitely ways to get in touch if you have a question. And in the answer key, rather than just giving the parent the answer, I kept in mind that homeschool parents would be grading it and some might not like math or be good at math. So if it was something that I thought people might struggle with how it was obtained, I gave the whole solution so you can kind of see what process was followed, and that's included there too.
Very good. And you touched on a really neat option that we have here at Master Books, and that is our Moms of Master Books Facebook group. It's a very special community that we have available on Facebook that, Sonia, if you're not already a part of that, we invite you to become a part of that community. It is a private group, so you do have to request to join, but once you're there, you get to interact with other moms and families that are using our curriculum. You have access to us as the publisher and oftentimes access to the authors as well. So if there is something that you come across within the curriculum that you would like explained a little better or you have questions about, you can always post your questions there and we will make sure to get those questions answered. So we invite you, all of you guys out there watching today, please join our Moms of Master Books Facebook group if you haven't already. We also have a function within our website at masterbooks.com where you can ask questions. And again, we're happy to answer those for you and just to make sure that you have all that you need to be successful while teaching this curriculum to your family. So thank you for that question, Sonia. We really appreciate it. And Israel commented here that his daughter, who is a more artistic type, plowed through Katherine's curriculum because she loves how she makes it applicable to the real world and how Katherine helps her to see math as expressing the nature and character of God. So we love that feedback, Israel, so thank you for sharing that with us. And if you have a similar student or a similar child at home, this may be just the curriculum for you as well. So we encourage you to give it a try. And another neat thing that we offer here at Master Books is our Faith Builder Guarantee. If you purchase a curriculum from Master Books and walk through it with your family, and your family and your students, their faith is not grown as a result of our curriculum, we offer you your money back. That's how passionate we are about not only teaching concepts and teaching important information, but also really building the faith of students and families. So, yeah, so you can't beat that, in my opinion. That's pretty great. So yeah, we encourage your questions. Talking here with Katherine Loop, of course, the author of Principles of Mathematics, our junior high math curriculum today. I'm so excited to have her on. And Katherine, I would love it if you would maybe just would speak speak to the moms and speak to the parents who are joining us here this afternoon. And I just know for myself, again, math can be such a intimidating subject, and I would love it if you would just look kind of right at these families and just kind of give them some encouragement and help them just realize that yes, they can do it. And with a curriculum like yours, again, in my opinion, that's so open and go and just so friendly for the parent and the student, the independent learning that we talked about, I would just love it if you would just encourage parents that yes, you can do this.
Definitely. Probably the best way I could do that is just to share my own experience with my mom. She was scared about English homeschooling us because she did not feel like she hadn't been taught how to sound out words. She was taught the look-say method in school, and she was very nervous. And God gave her Isaiah 54:13, which says, "All your sons shall be taught by the Lord, and great shall be your children's peace." And she realized that God makes an amazing teacher. And so she was going to trust him to give her the wisdom that she needed to teach us. And I got to watch him do that. I remember there were days in my English class where she didn't understand why I had gotten something wrong. But she bowed her head and she prayed. And she said, "Dear God, I don't understand. Please teach Katie what she needs to know." And sometimes I'd open my eyes and I'd get it. She's still clueless to this day, but God taught me what I needed to know. And English is my strength. I mean, I'm an author. And that is just a testimony to God's faithfulness. But I learned so much more by watching my mom bow her head and pray than I ever would have had she known her English forward and backwards. Because in real life, we don't always know the answer. We all have areas that are hard for us. And knowing that we can run to God and that he knows, that's a lesson that is priceless. So I would encourage you, if math is your area that's hard, run to the Lord. He knows. He created it. He's sustaining it. He is perfectly capable of helping you as you teach your child. And yes, with the curriculum, it was my prayer that it would make math simpler for families, that parents would be able to get over those fears. And people who were not necessarily math-minded could see math in action and could see, when you really understand what it is, and you really see it as part of God's creation and is not separate from science and history and the rest of life, then it loses a lot of its scariness. When you're learning something that you don't understand and that doesn't make sense and you don't see how it fits in, it feels really hard and really scary. But the more we see that whole big picture, it can help with that. But even if there are those times where it's just still hard, I would just encourage people that God knows and that he is able to give the wisdom.
It's so great. Thank you for sharing that with us. And I hope that was refreshment to your soul today as a homeschool parent. We honor you and we just cheer you on in what you're doing, and just know that you are doing such great things for the kingdom. And actually, I heard a really neat quote at church Sunday that I hope I don't get wrong, but it was from a pastor, and he said, sometimes the greatest thing you can do is not what you do for the kingdom, but who you raise for the kingdom. So that was just such an encouragement to me as a new parent, and I hope that encourages you as well out there today. But that is just so true. And so, Katherine, thank you for that. Thank you for encouraging these families. And I want to honor your time, and I know we have to get off of here quickly, but one more question that I had come in here from Robin. Robin, thanks for being here this afternoon. She just wanted to know, can you tell us, as far as your principles of mathematics, what grade would you consider this curriculum appropriate for?
It would either be ideal for grade 6 and 7 or 7 and 8, kind of depending on the level of the student. It's designed to be finished right before algebra. So if you want to start algebra in 8th grade, then you'd want to do it in grade 6 and 7. If you want to start algebra in 9th grade, then grade 7 and 8. Basically, they need to have a fairly good grasp on arithmetic before starting, and the ability to think logically through and to be able to read, and then they're good to start in book 1. Now, that said, I've heard from a lot of high schoolers who have been using the curriculum because they've gotten to algebra and they've gone, I don't understand this, and struggled, and so they've gone back and gone through this curriculum and done both books in a single year at a more accelerated rate in order to really get that big picture. So it can work for older students as well, but it's ideal for grades 6 and 7 or 7 and 8.
Very good. Excellent. Well, thank you, Katherine. Again, I said I wanted to honor her time because this girl is so multi-talented. She's preparing to go teach some lessons this afternoon to some students. So we love that about her, and we just thank you for sharing your heart and your passion with us this afternoon, and just so grateful for your time. But we do encourage you to keep asking questions here in the comments section of our video, and myself and Katherine will be happy to hop back on and type in and reply to those questions. So that's limitless, so feel free to keep asking questions here beneath our video, and we'll be happy to make sure we get all of our questions answered. So again, make sure you check out masterbooks.com. Principles of Mathematics is Katherine's junior high math curriculum that we've been talking about today. We're offering a special 10% discount off our math sets for the month of February using the coupon code MATH when you check out at masterbooks.com. So make sure to take advantage of that. Connect with us at Moms of Masterbooks. Make sure you've liked our Masterbooks Facebook page, all that good stuff, so you can stay connected with us. And we'll look forward to being back on here with you next week. But thanks again, Katherine, for being with us. We sure appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thank you guys so much.
All right. Well, we'll see you next time, Facebook friends. Have a good afternoon.